Welcome to Day-to-Day Bullshit.
Bullshit!
An unapologetic... Excuse me.
That's right. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Unapologetically raw and real podcast where we tackle life's challenges with real stories, advice, and experts' insights.
Insight.
Well,
Experts.
And us.
And us.
We're not the experts. We're
No.
asking the experts.
We are asking the experts.
Sorry, Don.
Oh, my.
But just to let you know a little bit about the show, today we are talking on the bullshit of cancel culture. Being too PC and interest groups. Are they killing us over here?
Yeah?
Well,
Interesting question.
can I say something?
Yeah.
Please, Don.
I think we should explain to them, and don't ask me to do it. What does that mean?
Well, what
Okay.
that means, Don, is we have a time where they're trying to sometimes censor things or make things go back to the way they were, which a lot of people don't like, and or shoving things down our throats like you have to do this way now. Good examples of that are in cinema. Like, actually, I have something for you on that one.
Okay.
Please.
So, like,
Read it to us.
See?
so the Academy Awards, after a couple of years ago, they had decided that in order to qualify to get a Best Picture or even be in the Academy Awards, that the main storyline, the theme or narrative of the film, would have to be centered on at least one of the four aforementioned unrepresented groups. So that was disabled, women, racial or ethnic, LGBTQ plus. But my argument to that would be some storylines are just phenomenal and fantastic and don't have those in them just because the way the story's written, and it's just not including them. But to try and have to include them in order for you to qualify, then you're adding to a story that doesn't really belong there.
Right. And to take the devil's advocate position, I would say after years and years and years of homogeneity where you basically only see one type of representation, sometimes the pendulum does have to swing in a direction that maybe we feel like is even too extreme, but it's got to balance out.
Eventually.
All
Yeah.
over the place. But now I get it, because I'm saying, we like last night when we was talking about it or whatever, it's something that I really didn't pay any attention to, because I always felt that it was one-sided anyway. That's why I said, please explain it, because people say, what does that mean? Well, I was one of those, and it's good to hear that. And also, I think, there was a conversation I had, I won't get too much in it, where the person was saying, oh, I see too much of this particular group.
All the time.
I feel like it's rammed down my throat.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think a lot of us are starting to feel that way. Just let it be what it is. If it's a movie and it doesn't include everybody, then damn it, don't include everybody.
I agree.
Come on.
I got a little tidbit to share before
All
we
right.
get into
Go
our
ahead.
guests. This is from therapygroupdc.com. I'm not getting paid to say this.
Okay.
Cancel culture can have significant mental health implications, including anxiety, depression, and social isolation. I think particularly the social isolation
Yeah,
piece, we were
I
talking
agree.
about
Yeah.
this, college students in class, whereas in the past they might have felt like pretty free. College should be a time to explore.
Oh, yeah. And say your mind and ask the questions.
Feeling afraid like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to say this or I want to ask this question, but am I going to piss somebody off?
Yep.
Yeah, I better just stay quiet. And it can
Yes.
really just silence the conversation.
Yeah, it really can. So, with all of that in mind, we've got some guests with us today.
All right.
Yes.
Yes, guests, but I will introduce only one first.
Okie dokie.
Okay, so we have a Dakota who's mid-20s, brand new father, and I'm talking like last week.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's a congratulations.
Yeah,
No, that wasn't what I'm looking for.
that was the one. Anyway, he served in the military and comes to us from New Jersey.
All right.
So he's got some comments on cancel culture.
Oh, wow.
So let's bring him in.
Welcome, and thank you for your service.
Thank a lot.
Absolutely.
Thanks for
Yeah,
having
thank
me.
you for your
How are you
service.
guys?
Congratulations, Daddy.
Yeah, that's exciting. How do you feel about it?
I'm excited.
Being a dad. That's good.
Very good.
That's good. Just try to maintain that attitude on
Absolutely.
zero sleep.
On zero sleep.
That's where I'm at right now.
You're gonna need it, homie.
Yeah.
Poor baby. We feel sorry for you, Daddy.
Yeah, really.
You see my face?
Because you're like, I've been there, I've done that. That's why. So cool. Dakota, what can you tell us about some experiences you've had or thought about in the cancel culture realm?
Where to begin?
Start at the beginning.
So
Yes, sir.
let's start with cinema first, because you guys mentioned that before. They've changed so many stories that have been going around for 50 plus years, or within those generations, where it was one ethnic group and then they drastically changed it to another.
Right.
And especially to the point where they're like, okay, well, diversity is important and everything, but even those diverse groups that they decided to change into, they don't even want to be a part of it.
Interesting.
Hmm.
How do you feel about that? Honestly, honey.
I feel
It's
like
all about honesty here.
I feel like if the story's been around for some time, changing the story a little bit at a time is the best way to do it, not drastically how like they've been doing.
Hmm. And they keep redoing a lot of these films. There's another one. God, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? It's being redone again? Like for the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th time. And I'm not talking about the Supermans where they keep doing that, but, but like one story that keeps coming up again and again and again. And they keep changing the race. They slightly add a couple of things. They just,
It's
trying
crazy.
to hit. I'm like, they're probably thinking, ooh, this time with this group of type of people, we'll hit it.
Yeah, make money with this one.
Well, I think that's a big factor. I think audiences, oftentimes the suits, if you will, the decision makers think, I mean, of course, it's all about the bottom line, right?
It
Like,
is.
oh, let's, try to use this formula and plug this in. And I think audiences are more savvy than that. Like, we feel it when it's forced. But that said, if you've got, legitimate true stories from groups who in years past have not had representation, I'm all for bring it. I want to see a story about a particular point of view that I've never seen before. Like, I love that. But when it's done in a thoughtless way or in a way that you think is just like, oh, they're ticking a box.
Yeah,
clearly.
ticking a box.
They thought, oh, this plus this is going to
equal this
box office success.
Right.
That
and we'll get into the academies possibly, and we satisfy. Check off all those boxes
to get a group. I'm gonna throw a big one at y'all, and I don't know if you know that this is a big thing. It's James Bond. Now, James Bond is James Bond. Sean Connery, I like all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Daniel Craig, come on, if you're gonna mention one, you gotta mention the
all
best.
of them. I like.
It was Timothy Dalton, Roger Moore.
See,
I thought you were saying Timothy Dalton was the best. I was gonna say
no, hell no. It was Roger Moore all the way.
Oh.
I hated Sean Connery.
Really?
Wait a second. Roger Moore over Daniel Craig. That's another show. We're gonna have to do another episode.
On James Bond, but
Daniel Craig was too rough.
Hard disagree.
Too rugged.
Hard disagree.
We have a disagreement here.
I need sophistication.
Oh.
Oh.
And very handsome.
And he was not that.
So here's the thing.
Reasonable minds can differ.
Bring up Idris Elba.
Yeah.
To play James Bond.
I know.
Problem.
Yep.
Problem.
Really?
Yes.
Is it
don't think. Yes.
I mean, I think you'd make a kick-ass James Bond.
So do I. But like you're talking about movies, they don't think that Idris Elba should be doing James Bond.
Oh.
They want to keep it at the same ethnic group.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that. Yeah.
I didn't know about that yet.
So how do you, what would you think about Idris Elba as Bond?
I'm biased. I think he's sexy as hell, and I want to see him do
think
James
he's
Bond.
sexy as hell. I'm not gay.
He's definitely sexy.
Yes. Yeah.
No question.
Yeah. But I see what you're saying when it comes to all of that. And then again, you get used to a particular person doing a particular movie.
Yeah.
And when you change, it's like, oh, this movie ain't the same no more.
Yeah.
Right.
That happens.
I mean, they did that with the classic Annie. They finally brought on a instead of red-haired Andy, she was African American.
Yes.
So they finally did that. I don't know how well that movie did or not. But
I don't
no idea.
I think I did see it. I don't even think it was in the movies, was it?
It was.
Oh, okay. I saw it on TV.
But several years ago.
All right.
Dakota, we just went all over.
Yeah, we went
let's
all
let
over
our
the place.
guests
Anyway, so
speak a little bit.
let's hear what you have to say.
You got us all roused up.
Hey, I was entertained by that. That's
Well, thank you.
But you just mentioned something that's important, though. You just mentioned that the fact that they changed James Bond from a Caucasian male to an African American. but at least I have no issue that they picked Idris Elba for it, just for the fact that at least he's British.
Oh, there we
interesting.
go.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. Never
Well,
thought of
James
that.
Bond is always British. That's for
Yes.
sure.
Yes, good one, Dakota. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't
All
think
right.
about that.
So for him, I see that he could portray that portrait perfectly,
Mhm,
and it wouldn't change the story drastically.
Yeah.
Like they've
Interesting.
changed many other movies like that though, where it affected how people viewed the movies. Like one that they expected to hit the box office perfectly, and Disney could come at me, was
Oh.
Little Mermaid.
Get that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
All
That
right,
was a bit of a disaster, I think, wasn't it?
it failed epically
Yeah.
to the
Mm.
point where even that diverse group of African Americans were upset about what they did to the movie.
Wow.
Oh.
Wow. I was.
You weren't there, Don, but the rest of them were.
All
Messing
right,
with you.
younger generations.
Dakota,
Oh, younger generations. Okay.
I was. She said I was. Well, so Dakota, let me ask you. So, in a different sphere, right? What are some, like, movies and entertainment aside? What are some other areas that you think where this comes into play?
Besides movies, it's actually just social media in general, because of the fact that like lately they've been focusing on a lot more diversity as well. And then on top of that, people are like shaming others for not being part of the same race or
Oh.
being the same figure or all that body modifications that people do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, how do you think you can strike a balance between inclusivity, right, being open, but also maintaining an atmosphere where people feel like it's okay to, ask a question or like have a different point of view, where you don't feel like, oh my God, I'm being forced to do something or say something or see something that's not me?
What do you know what separates the diverse groups though? Judgmentality. We judge each other based off of what we've been through or what we've done, but we can never ask a question about something without it sounding offensive or discriminatory.
Interesting. Interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, it is
I-
interesting.
I'd
Because
like
we
to
do.
I'd like to push back on that because I agree that it's challenging, but there's got to be a way to do it. I mean, I feel like anecdotally in my life, I'm thinking about one instance in particular with a black friend of mine where I'm able to like ask a question, but with the caveat like being sort of delicate about it. And I know that personally for me, I will sometimes say, look, I know this is kind of like a sensitive issue, so just like bear with me, but I'm wondering
Ask a
X.
question.
But you just answered
Ask a
yourself
question.
with that though. You said friend.
Uh,
You've known them for a while. If I went up to like a stranger and asked the same question, how would you think they would react?
Maybe.
Right.
And it's the tone, and then it's the way that you ask the question.
Exactly.
Very true.
The
Yeah.
permission. You ask permission. Now that person has to give you permission.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Good one, Dakota.
Yeah.
a lot of people
Yeah.
don't notice that. That's the issue. Like if you see one group staying within a certain ethnicity background, then how would they feel comfortable going up to someone from a different one and asking a specific question? They're going to feel like, you know what? Maybe I'm targeting. Maybe I'm being inconsiderate. Maybe I'm
Mm-hmm.
not being diverse enough.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
how am I going to be open-minded if I was closed-minded before?
Mm-hmm.
Now people
Yeah,
are going
that's
to
a
be
tough
changing
one.
habits and everything else, and it's kind of like a fight or flight response.
Yeah, if you feel attacked, definitely fight or flight. Yeah, I hear that.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that is some good points.
Dakota,
Very good
you
points.
were- I should say you are a very intuitive young man, especially when it comes to judging. You know, when the way he answered that question, that he flipped it back. I thought that was really good.
That was a good flip back.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well,
Flip back. That's a registered trademark. Flip back.
flip back.
Yes.
All right. So great. Well, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
James.
Dakota.
It was great to get your perspective and hear all the different ways, especially from your generation.
Absolutely.
No problem.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
All right, take care, and congratulations on your
Yes.
little one.
Thanks again, guys.
Congrats. Okay, thank you.
Yes. What's the clap, 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 clap. I got a little clap.
Did you have some of my quad espresso, Dawn?
Did you bring it here? She might have accidentally sipped it, and
This one is mine. Okay.
Dang.
she's like, "Damn it, I was
Damn.
digging on that one."
But I gotta tell y'all, one day I'm thinking about this when he said that. So I went out with the Housewives of Old Bridge. So they're all Caucasian. I'm the only black woman, right?
Right.
So we went to this restaurant. I think it was La Cocina, whatever it is. And the lady
This
came
episode
over.
sponsored by La Cocina.
The lady comes over and she says, "Oh my God, you guys look like our table, right?" So I look, right, and my friends know me. They was like, "Oh shit, excuse me, this ain't gonna be good."
We can swear on this.
Yeah, so they was like, "Oh my God, yeah." I said, I don't see a black woman at your table, so we are not the same." Her face was like, "Oh." I said, "I'm only kidding. Don't get excited." But I'm serious.
But why did she say that?
I don't know. She just got up and she, because we was all having fun. And
Right.
her table, they had the same. I think they had the same amount of women.
And they were all having fun.
All friends.
So
and
that's
stuff.
all she meant,
And
really.
That's all she said. But I said, "I'm kidding. They know how I am. I always do that to them."
We're all the same. You get it, Dawn.
Get it, Dawn. But I tell you, I made them change their cards. They used to all give out cards, right? And they say, "Oh my God, look at all these cards." I says, "I'm not represented in your card." Guess what? Now every card they give,
Yeah.
it's a black woman.
That's
True issues,
awesome.
but it's love,
yeah.
and it's understanding, and we talk about things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, they're all Republicans,
Mm-hmm.
okay? so we get through it.
Yeah.
We got through it.
So like you said, how do we fix this? We got to be open, and you have to be understanding. I know who they are; they know who I am.
Right.
Respect me, I respect you.
Exactly.
Totally.
We
Yeah.
can have differing opinions and still like each other.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
That's
We
the
all-
thing. I feel
y'all.
like we've gotten so much. I like you too, Dawn.
Even if you're vastly different, because you're a female, he's a male. You're black. He's white. My God.
Wait a second,
What
I'm
are you
what?
gonna do?
What?
Wait a second, you guys. I'm not black. What? We got to stop the episode.
I know. Really.
Wait, what's
He's got a life transforming thing going on here.
Remember that day? Adam realized.
That he was not white. Ah!
No, I thought I was black. Okay, wait. Can I just interject? Can I just interject a little something from when I? Okay, I hope this woman. She probably doesn't remember this. So when I was in college, there was a woman. I was at a party with a radio station, peeps, and I was the director of the Radio Rhesus Voices, which is like a children's radio show on WNYU. And I was the choir director, and the director of the show, Florence. Hello, Florence, if she's listening or watching. So Florence is black. I'm white. I'm white, by the way, guys. This woman, newsflash, hot takes. Could I have some more espresso? This white woman next to me. We're all like drinking and hanging out. This is at the radio station at NYU. And she starts saying, "You guys, I'm so black. Oh my God, you guys, I'm like so black." And my friend Florence is just like, I'm gonna look to the camera like this. And for you listening, I'm just doing the one raised eyebrow. She's just looking at this girl. Yeah, it was class. I should say woman. It was class. Florence did not say anything, but it was such a cringe moment. It's like,
Sounds like a really cringe moment. Yeah.
yeah.
There's some trouble there.
So be open and honest, but
Be open.
think before you
Think
speak.
before you speak.
Think before you speak.
Very well put. So next guest is Clark, 62, business owner from Southern California, remodeling contractor, interior designer, cosmetologist, and a musician.
Oh,
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
a lot of
bullet
skills,
points.
a lot of talents going.
I'm going to ask what kind of musician he is.
Oh yeah, definitely. Let's welcome Clark on.
Clark.
Hello, Clark.
Hello, Clark. How are you doing?
What are you doing? I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Say it again.
One more time.
I was saying good morning. I'm doing well, thank you. How are all of you?
Yes,
We're
good
fine,
morning
thank
to you.
Good morning and good
We're having-
afternoon
we're
to
having
us.
fun. Good
Yeah,
afternoon.
we're having a blast.
Yeah, I'm
Gotta
actually.
calm down.
I wasn't sure what I was going to be getting into or what to expect, but you guys are a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that.
We try really
We
hard.
do.
It's all love. It's all
Here's
love.
to trying hard.
Yeah. And Adam, all he does for the show, by the way, is just push buttons.
That's all he does.
That's it.
And that's not the only buttons he pushes.
He's the
Oh,
He
Foley.
pushes all
Yes,
kinds
yes,
of
he
other
does.
buttons.
There you go. Yeah, he's the Foley man for the podcast.
Yes, he is. He's the Foley
Yes, he
man
is.
for the podcast.
Yeah, Foley artist. Okay, that's a good term. So what kind of musician are you, if I can ask?
A professional one most of the time, but not always. We do cover work, other people's things. We do have some original music going out. I've got a couple of different bands I work with,
Oh.
and I predominantly I'm a classically trained singer, so that's my job in the band, and I play a little guitar here and there where I can figure it out.
That's
Oh.
awesome. Good for
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
That's really great.
You hiring?
Hard rock, pop rock to funk to disco to different in different eras, genres.
I love
So every genre and era,
Every
pretty much.
genre.
Yeah.
love
Okay.
funk.
Okay. I'm gonna apply for a job.
Well, now we can
I'd
use a
like to
backup singer
sing.
and a dancer for sure.
I'll come to California.
You'll
Here
go
I
to
come.
California.
Yeah, hell yeah. So what are you bringing today in terms of our topic? What's on your mind?
Uh-oh.
The bullshit
Well,
of
a
cancel.
lot of things. I was listening to Dakota, and he sounds like he's giving it some good thought, and in dealing with cancel culture, I think it's one of the most absurdly ridiculous things on the planet. The way I
But
was
how do you
brought
really feel?
dry and a little bit tired, I guess. I don't know.
Good answer. Good answer.
The way I was raised, my mother, in our family, there was a lot of bigotry, for instance, okay, on one side. Well, I should say actually on both sides in some respects, but, my mother always was good in the respect. She taught us that people were all people, and the only differences we had were biological because of the area on the planet that we came from environmentally affected the way you looked physically. It's a survival mechanism in that respect.
Mm.
Otherwise, no differences. So the thing I have a problem with is that you get to these things like cancel culture, and what that says to me is that we've got people out there who are not being taught to be confident and have a good sense of self. For instance, when we were growing up, we were taught we could be anything, do anything. We all excelled in school because of this. We all had friends in various ethnic groups, didn't matter what race, creed, or religion they came from, and there was no difference. But to me now, with cancel culture, I'm looking at people saying, well, I don't have a good, strong sense of self, so I want rid of that and rid of that because it makes me feel badly about myself, or it makes me feel badly towards others. It's absurd. You take something like, okay, I'll use a book for example, To Kill a Mockingbird. Yes, they're all white people in the book, but that's just the way it was written. That was the author's perspective. It's a white group someplace in the Midwest in the United States. That whole book is about an erroneous prejudice about something that people were fearful of because they had no knowledge of it. And yet at the end, the thing they were fearful is the thing that turns out to be the savior in the story. They want to cancel it. It's no longer on required reading lists for high school kids and other things. And for what reason, we don't know. The only thing I can think of is maybe because of a lack of diversity. Other than that, there's really no reason for it. It actually shows that a prejudice can be a very inappropriate thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So whereas and this is prevalent across the board with film, literature. People don't like a statue because it represented something at a particular time. It's just history. I think all of this is about ego, and they want to, alter reality to make themselves feel better. It's not the way it works.
Well, you hit upon something that I think is really interesting and a key component of this, and that is self-confidence. And I thought it was really interesting what you were saying about, getting this familial message that you're great and you can do anything. It can really change your entire outlook, not just on you, but you were saying like of your friends and your friend group. And so, what do you think we can do to kind of foster that in those who, let's say, maybe don't have the advantage of having parents who raise them, or a parent, not everybody has parents, plural, people who are being raised without that? Like what are other ways that idea, that sort of confidence in self can be instilled?
Well, I think Don touched on this a little bit. I realize there are children out there who are, orphaned. and there are children with single family homes. I think the main issue really overall is parenting now, whether that comes from the biological parents or simply the people who are caring for young kids. They need to be taught that they are okay being who they are. We were talking about, uh, C was talking about this, and you guys had a conversation of, about I can't even talk, in inclusiveness in film, for instance, and the requirement thereof. So, when you look at things like that, if you acknowledge people around you for what they are and you don't react to them in any adverse or unusual way, they're not going to note anything. I had a friend, his name was Tom Fryer, congenital defect, wheelchair stuck his whole life. We'd run into each other out places. I'd get on the back and make him wheel me around, and we'd have a lot of fun. We'd be out at dinner or out at a club, and then vice versa. I'd sit on his lap and I'd pull the wheels and roll. I mean, we just did different things.
Yeah.
Didn't care. Had fun with it, I never looked at him any differently. Always treat him like a friend, invite him over for dinner. And, I have the neighborhood I'm living in. People that live in this neighborhood, it's a diverse element of ethnic backgrounds. We've got Black, Hispanic, and by the way, I'm white Hispanic. I'm Spanish and Irish. We've got people from the Middle East. We've got people from Asia, several different varieties of Asian folks here. Uh, you know, we all get along. We're all good neighbors. We all get together for block parties. There's no diversity concern. There's no tension or animosity of any kind. We all just accept people for who they are. So
Yeah.
getting back to the parenting thing, I'm digressing a little bit.
Okay.
Wherever these children are, they need people who are around them that are bolstering their sense of self-worth and ego, their self-esteem.
Yeah.
And I think that'll change a lot of things. My friends can say whatever they want about me as long as it's honest and true. Doesn't faze me.
Mm-hmm.
And I accept it, and that's perfectly fine. And I won't offer a retort. I simply say, "Okay, great."
Wow. You think
That's
sometimes,
the point.
Clark, that I thought about a topic I talked about one time. It was being comfortable in your skin. You think a lot of people are very uncomfortable, like you talk about self-confidence. They're uncomfortable in who they are and in their own skin.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's hard to be that way. I think it's a lot of people find it very difficult to come out of their shells and really say anything, and that's even a partially confident person. I mean, I've met a lot that like have told me I would never be able to do what you just did, which was like like oftentimes if I think can't stand something or think it's wrong, I'll call the CEO or email him and let him know.
Yeah.
Like, this is not good. This is not right.
Yeah.
And I do that all the time. And they're like, whoa, why would you do that? I'm like, well, I'm not insulting them. I'm not telling him he's an asshole. I'm just letting him know that this is just no.
Not
And
right.
so not right. So do that. But like some people just feel like, no way could I do that, especially if it were in person,
Right.
which I don't have a problem doing. Or,
No,
but
you don't.
no. but still, like, when I don't know, the confidence key it's so key, but then not everybody has that. So, and I wonder, does a lot of this stuff come out of people being too afraid to say something? Like, is there enough people that won't say something that this bothers them and they just let everyone get away with it? Or what's happening really? I mean, I'm not sure.
We asked Clark, but I think he made a good point as far as like family is concerned too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, it begins there, but not everybody has that. And even so, sometimes they don't come out as confident as you might think, or they're very like introverted or something,
Yeah. How can
And-
we foster that more in society?
Oh, I think we need to send a positive message. Of course, I'm sorry, I missed your name again. I
Adam,
was in-
that was Adam.
Adam. Yeah. Hello, I'm Adam. I don't think I said it.
His name is Arlene. Don't
Yeah,
ask
you
me.
did.
His name is Arlene, and we're sticking to it.
Yes.
No, don't
No,
listen to these crazy ladies. My name's Adam, like the first man.
Oh, he went there.
Yeah, see what I mean?
First man.
Culture cancer.
Whoa. How do you know a woman wasn't there before you?
That's right.
I don't.
So
I
Adam,
meant
you-
the first man to arrive here today.
Oh.
Well, I
Good
think that we
save.
have a director that's a man. You're fired.
But I'm sorry, Clark. You were
Oh, he
saying.
was right. He was there already.
Thank you.
Yeah, he didn't arrive here.
You would know. You're a therapist. Is that what I'm understanding?
I'm an ADHD coach.
ADHD coach. Are you familiar with engrams?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so you understand the purpose and the effect that engrams have on the development of a child, and the then thereby development of the adult later on in life. So at those points in life, the formative years as they are from, I guess it's, they're saying now as early as the first trimester, but I was always taught the third trimester to about 6 years of age. During those times, these kids need to be positively affirmed and reaffirmed and given information that will help them to develop their personalities in a more confident fashion, to
Mhm.
Hmm.
become a little more self-aware, to understand that they're okay regardless of what they might have going on in their lives, whether it's emotional, intellectual, or physical, handicaps of any kind. So, that's where it's got to start. Unfortunately, that's probably not going to happen for the majority of the people out there.
Right.
But I mean, that's what happened with us growing up. We were given nothing but positive affirmations. People have to understand that if you're screaming and yelling, your kids are young, they're going to hear that, and that's going to affect the way they perceive certain
That's right.
things.
Most definitely.
That's right.
Yeah, they won't know how to deal with situations all the time.
Oh yeah, and and especially when kids are that age, they don't have the skills or the experience to cope with these things or to compartmentalize them and make sense of them. So it brings up confusing feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of that stems from. They just don't know how to behave and react situationally, given the circumstances.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Definitely. Most definitely. Have you run into any cancel culture, like just on the day to day, or just reading things, new stuff coming out that they're trying to do? I mean, like I know I've been reading a lot of different things, but um,
Oh
like
yeah, all the time. I'm not confronted with it here, but on a daily basis, it's always something. It's this book, that book, this movie, this song, that song.
the Aunt Jemima box, or I mean, the Aunt Jemima syrup is no longer a black lady on it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
that,
my neighbor
I'm
was
surprised
angry.
they haven't attacked Uncle Ben's.
Oh, and
And
Yes,
Uncle
Uncle
Ben's,
Ben's.
they
He looked
took
like
that
my
away. Like,
father.
what the hell is that?
yeah,
Just because they called it perverted rice doesn't mean that they have to take it
Oh my
away.
God.
She said perverted, right?
yeah.
But you're
So,
right.
yeah, so I mean, these things these are icons they grew up with. I don't see that. To me, that shows success for that person. Be
It
them
does.
in this case, both being black. You want to take that away from those people in their community? Why?
Mm. Can
Makes
I
I
no
tell
don't.
you
sense.
something? Even like like I'm sorry, but the syrup and the rice. My
Aunt Jemima,
neighbor, yeah, Republican. So me and him, we fight a lot. And when I came over that day, he says, "So what do you think about them taking them? The rice and you people are mad at that?" I said, "Hell, effing yeah." Okay, so I'm challenging him.
Mhm.
So he said, "What's wrong with it?" I said, "Well, honestly, I've spoken to a lot of people that look like me, and they says, listen, they went back, Clark. They went back to slavery days, and oh, we don't want to see him on the box, because it represented something for them.
Mhm.
Especially the
Yeah.
older people, it
Mhm.
represented slavery for them.
Yeah.
But that
For
generation's
me,
almost out,
yes,
man.
but for me,
They're
I
almost
was
gone.
like, okay, it's on a box of rice, and you keep it there. I and in the beginning, honestly, it did not bother me. But
Right.
like you say, what happens is you start listening subliminally. This starts
Yeah.
getting in your brain, and
Right.
so and so and so, and then all of a sudden, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's a
also, I
problem.
don't like the packaging, like being, it's just, I don't mind if they do variations or like all these rebranding and stuff like that, make things look nicer, better pictures, whatever, all that stuff. So you do that with every company over a span of 10, 20 years, you're going to rebrand. It happens.
Yeah.
But that's just like, because now McDonald's is all beige. I mean, I'm sure they're doing
Yeah.
that psychologically because the parents are like, fuck no, I'm not going there. Like that clown town. Like, no. But at least it keeps them calm for while the kids are there.
Now let's not offend the clowns listening.
Oh my
Oh
God.
yeah.
But if I could just bring it back to Aunt Jemima for a second, because I'm very
Yes.
curious about this, because at
Yes.
the time I remember that Aunt Jemima, since time immemorial, she was
Yes, that
dressed
was
like
like
a
your
cleaning-
syrup.
She's dressed like a cleaning lady.
Yes.
And then they
Yes.
changed so she looks like a professional woman. And I definitely saw the argument that, like, if I'm a black child growing up, and the main representation I see on products is there aren't a lot of products with pictures of black people on them.
Correct.
Newsflash, hot takes,
Okay.
day-to-day
Yeah.
bullshit hot takes. So if the one black woman that I see on a product is a
Looks
maid,
like that. Yes.
am I
What happened.
thinking, oh, well, so I guess, black women are
They're
maids? Like, that's
maids.
kind of the main thing.
And that's how I'm telling you exactly what you said.
that
But at least they did
affects
something fine
the
by just
psyche.
removing that and making
Yeah.
her a professional.
But here's the thing. I think
But now
I
they
think-
removed her altogether.
I think where things get really dangerous is when the only focus is on the surface.
Yeah.
Because really, all this shit is about much deeper. Like if you have different open and honest points of view down here at the heart of things, that's going to change the products and the movies and the books and all that.
Absolutely.
If you just come in and try to say, oh, what's the thing that, and again, coming back to the checkbox idea, oh, that's bad, let's change that. Like without thinking about it. I think there's a key element here, which is thoughtfulness.
Yeah. And also another thing, I thought I would bring up, and I think is like how today's dictionary is changing vastly quickly. Words are leaving, words are coming in. I mean, like, wow, some of the stuff is considered, I guess, proper English now when it was slang before.
And even slang is in the dictionary.
It is. It's in the dictionary now. Crazy.
But so this is an interesting thing because, like, on the one hand, I was sort of like a grammar snob in school. Like, I really love grammar.
I still am.
And, so on the one hand, like, yay, I applaud the King's English or the Queen's English. But then, you also have to think, like, language is a lived thing.
It is.
And it does change. And when the bulk of people say something a certain way, somebody's saying, well, that's not the correct pronunciation. Like, if only 10 people are still saying it that way, it's not the correct way to say it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there is that. There is that. But, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, Clark, what do you think about all that? That was a big data.
Oh, yes, it was. First of all, I'm going to go back to cancel culture directly, where I think people don't really find a problem with anything until somebody tells them they should have a problem with it.
Yeah.
And then once that happens, it's Pandora's box. All of a sudden, everybody says, well, what's wrong with other things now? Let's look around and see how many things out there aren't right. But the bottom line for any of this is just reality. Changing reality isn't going to change anything that's happened. It probably won't change anything that happens in the future, at least not in a good way necessarily. But, it just doesn't make any sense. We can find things wrong with everything. I mean, things wrong with me, things wrong with you, things wrong with this and that and the other thing. But, the bottom line is that's just reality. We're flawed beings. If we weren't flawed, we probably wouldn't be here.
Amen to that. We are flawed beings. I mean, if it were up to me, I would make, somebody burn all the Kenny G records and CDs. But that's just me personally. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I'm right there with you.
As a musician, you have to be, Clark.
Yeah.
That's the only. But, I mean, we say this all in good fun and jest. But let's be honest, we should burn all the Kenny G CDs.
It's cold-blooded.
That is cold. He wants to murder the Kenny G.
No, okay. No, I have to say...
my opinion. My choice.
And you know what?
What?
This is a safe space.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Can I sit where you are, C?
Yeah, move him over there.
No, there's a great documentary about Kenny G. Have you seen it, Clark?
No, I don't know.
She answered for me.
I know I haven't. I'm not watching.
No, Clark, I didn't hear. Did you answer? Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it. I've heard of it, haven't seen it.
Listen, let me tell you something. It is fucking fascinating.
Wow.
And I highly, like, as somebody who detests Kenny G's music, sorry, apologies, no disrespect.
Okay.
I don't hate his fans. I know. I'm sure he loves his money. It's a fascinating documentary. And I really did not want to watch it. And then I watched it. I was like, oh my God, it's fascinating in ways you couldn't predict. So
someone I can't remember.
Today's episode brought to you by Netflix.
I saw one on Wham that was very interesting. And, I mean, I like Wham in general. They weren't my favorite group, but, watching this documentary, it focused mostly on George Michael. You had no idea how talented and how amazing this guy actually was.
So talented. Sure. Oh my God.
You see this, you don't know. You just see the persona and you get the perceptions with the bad press, like that whole incident, over here in California.
The tabloids, yeah.
Yeah. So, it's a whole different thing when you peel back the shell and look at the inside and see what's going on. And you go, hey, wow, there was something very fascinating there. I have a totally different perspective on it. So, I do like Kenny G's Christmas music simply because it's soft and very enjoyable and, it's a very pleasant sort of thing.
Yeah.
But Christmas music, hard to screw up. So
that is a good point. That is a good point. Yes. Yeah.
Even just an a cappella children's choir can be fabulous when you do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's very interesting, Clark. You mentioned, sort of peeling back. I can't remember exactly how you said it, but
peeling the layer back.
Peeling the layer back and looking inside. I feel like that's a great sort of metaphor.
Yeah.
For a lot of what we're talking about here.
Yeah. Well, it really is, and that's what you got to do. So to get back to the basic point, which we keep digressing from, but that's fine. It's entertaining and fun for me, so I'm just sitting listening, enjoying myself. But we've got to stop telling people that there are things wrong that need to be fixed. I mean, if they're there and they need to be fixed, that's fine. But not everything does.
Yeah.
I agree.
You can't change history by fixing things. It is
No.
quite frankly,
fix everything.
you get rid of all that stuff, future generations aren't going to have anything to look back on and learn from.
Exactly.
And that's the key. There is
Suddenly there's no history. Like,
Yes.
where did it all go?
No, I heard somebody talking about Confederate statues.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a different thing.
Okay.
No, but some of these Confederate statues. I heard somebody who was saying yes, it's like was that. I don't know what that was.
That's for you to keep going.
That's the cue. That's the cue. We have 3 more minutes left. No, but that a statue is potentially a teaching and learning moment.
Yes.
Again, it's all about the context. Like just taking it down, like nothing to see here. No, keep it up and then raise awareness and talk about it.
Yeah.
I think the thing is you got to coming back to what you said, Clark, opening up the layers and
layering.
Right. If it's in there, and if it's in there, a kid could be like, "Well, who was that?" And then there's the lesson right there.
But they don't. That's the thing. So they don't give the lesson.
Yeah, you don't get the lesson
if they don't give the lesson. So am I for it? I don't really know. But the education and the history has to be there.
It does. You can't change that.
Maybe I'm gonna be honest with you, put it on the side somewhere. But no, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
but they're not
no bad
teaching.
Ideas in that.
They're not going to teach it.
No.
So it's almost like black in the history books when honestly, when I used to read about history, I'm up there with you, Clark. You read a book and it'll say Africa is the dark continent. That's all we learned.
That's some bullshit.
That is some bullshit because there are a lot of white people in Africa.
I know, but at that time, this was a long time ago, y'all. I tell you.
Now wait a second. You hear what you just said?
What's that?
Because there's a lot of white people in Africa.
They are.
I know, but I'm saying, is that the reason why we should learn about it?
Africa.
No, I'm just kidding. See what I did?
Cool.
See what I did there?
What he did.
Let me ask you, Connor.
Once we get out of these chairs, I'm going to smack him on the back of the head.
And I'm just going to choke him.
It's high for me, please. So, Don, when this is something that I've often wondered about. I mean, we might assume that they're referring to a racial consideration when they say it's a dark continent, but is
Correct.
that? Did anybody ever stop and think about the fact that it might be a dark continent because the people there are third world or by consideration, and maybe they're just lacking in education and understanding things. There are a lot of ways you can be dark.
Absolutely.
Dark can be ignorance as well as biological.
You're right. 100%. 100%. I just happened to be. I had parents like yours, where I was taught things. You understand what I'm saying? So I knew all about Africa.
I didn't know you had white parents.
No, my parents were Caucasian. Just my daddy. My family see this, they won't be too happy with me.
No.
So just your daddy was white.
Told on that. My great grandmother was white.
Okay, so was mine.
So we found
We've got that might be. That's right.
Yours was too. How shocking!
Believe it or not, yeah.
Oh, we're crazy,
I'm
Clark.
not buying it.
We're crazy.
Yeah.
You had a long period without pushing some buttons. I started getting agitated here. I wasn't sure when it happened. But yeah, these things are all a matter of perspective. If we teach out the appropriate perspectives, we don't need cancel culture. We don't need all of these other, special interest groups, most of which really are ineffectual anyway. They're demanding things, like equal representation. Okay, well, you can't cancel out all white people. It just doesn't work. We're all together.
We're here together. That's right, Clark.
And we just have to learn. I'm going to cite myself as an example. Not that I'm always the best one, but we all have to learn that everybody can be okay and everybody can be acceptable. There's a big push. Everybody, look at how many people now there are YouTubers and podcasters and influencers and all these people are doing all these things. It's like, my God, the culture has changed from the time I was born in the early 60s. now everybody wants to be seen and heard. And no
Yeah.
offense,
You're right.
frankly, the larger majority of the people out there aren't where they are seeing a lot of times.
Exactly.
That is very true. I see a lot of nasty, stupid videos.
Oh yeah. At the same time, we still need to let them know it's not about being seen and being heard. It's about being solid as a person.
Mm.
And then these things would probably go away. But we're still
yeah.
by
Hope so.
other particular groups that we should be looking at things like this, and we should be correcting things. And it's not a healthy perspective. It's not a healthy direction to go.
It's not.
And I think those execs at Disney are they don't have any confidence whatsoever.
They're clueless. They don't have the right people.
They just do whatever. They're like, oh, look.
Interest groups. They don't have the right people.
They don't, and they don't even have confidence within themselves. They're not can't make a decision. Let's do it this way. I think this is going to be a great way to go. None of that.
No.
It's like we're going to do this because of this.
Right.
Right. Then everyone explodes. I don't know what button explodes.
Explode.
Oh, exploding farts.
They're crazy.
That qualifies.
They're crazy. I think Clark should come back again.
I think so.
Yes, we'd love to have you back, Clark. That was
In the
really
spring,
fun.
we're doing season 2. We'll have other topics, but yes, that was a great one.
Is great.
It was great.
Would you come back, Clark?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Awesome.
And we'll see what happens between then.
Never
I
actually
know.
started doing anything like this, but this topic is something that has been on the forefront of my mind, off and on for a number of years now. It's simply because of the pervasiveness of this, especially in the media and other places, which is where it shouldn't be. Yeah, that's another problem we can get into another time. But the world's gotten extremely small now. Disney kind of had that right back in the 40s and 50s. It's a small world all of a sudden because we have access to everybody everywhere all the time now.
All the time.
We do.
Anything, and that's a problem. Children, for instance, being exposed to certain things at an early age, like sexual choices, gender identity, and things like that. They don't have the capacity or the experience to understand what any of that even means or how it affects them. That stuff shouldn't be on TV. It shouldn't be in the media or any place in the public eye for where children are going to see it, because all of a sudden now there's confusion. They don't understand what it means to just simply be who they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Now they start thinking, who am I supposed to be? Who was I meant to be? You're supposed to be who you are.
That's right.
That's it.
That's right.
There's a lot of confusion about that. So we need to get back to, like I said earlier, building them up properly, teaching them correctly. Mathematics, I think I remember that a couple of years back. My wife's a teacher. Suddenly now there's a whole new system of mathematics, and I learned the new system. I looked at it, I thought it was so much quicker and easier the other way, and it actually exercised.
Yeah.
Actually, use your brain probably.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. You've got this long, you can add, 2 and 2 and 4 and get 8, but you had this process where there were like 10 steps all of a sudden.
Yeah. I'm going through that now. I don't even understand the math. And this is the funniest thing, and I know we're running a little long, but this is what really happened. So Kira was very young, and like maybe 4 or 5, just starting school. We met, or not even yet, and we met a friend of ours at the park where we took her to play for a little bit. A guy who's from New Jersey, for lack of a better word, meathead. Just a true list, And and he was saying to our other friend who was standing there, because they were friends, he's like, yeah, I got the new math book. I went down to the school. I told him, my kid doesn't do Asian math. Get me the American book.
Oh, ouch.
That was like,
what the?
That's what he did. And they were like, that's the math we're doing. He's like, well, my kid's not doing that. And then they were like, and then he turned around and walked away. I have no idea what ended up happening, but that was what happened like 10 years ago.
Yikes.
American math.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
But
you know what? I don't understand that math.
I think the Asians still do it the old-fashioned way too.
They got a new line out that's just I can't even help Kira with her homework. Like, no, doesn't happen. No, I can't do the math.
They don't have regular math, trigonometry,
no.
Well,
blah, blah, blah. A lot of the way they break it down is different. Yeah,
they break it down differently.
Math is coming from.
I don't know what he said. I mean, I don't know. That's just what he said.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's right.
They don't even use it in when they get to real life.
Yeah. So cool. Well, this was great. We'll definitely have to have you back.
Absolutely, Clark.
That was a lot of fun. So, with that, we are wrapping up and
yes, Clark, get your sounds together, man.
Damn sounds together.
That's all, folks.
I wasn't sure what to expect, but this was not nearly as troublesome as I thought it was going to be.
Oh, good.
Well, that's good.
What are you saying? You're saying we're a little too
Easy.
funny.
It'll be hard the next time. How's about that?
All this would still have been interesting, is what I'm getting at. So.
Good.
Yes.
Cool. That's what we're going for.
Well, we're very mature here.
Yes,
Yes.
Especially Adam, so mature.
Yeah.
The first time that this deck came out with all the sounds, he could not stop
No,
himself.
this was him all day.
What do you mean the first time?
All day. Paul said, let me move his feet. This was him all day.
Anyway, all right.
All
Well,
right.
that's a wrap. And
See you, Clark.
we'll
Clark.
see you
Thank you
next
so much.
time.
Yes. Give him another round of applause.
Yes.
No, I keep
No.
doing that.
It's
No,
wrong.
it's A.
It's B.
It's A. It's B.
It's A. It's either ass or booty. Which one do you want?
Ass or booty. I don't remember that now. It's
All right, ass or booty. I like it.
Ass.
yeah.